feel free to share it.
Uh, Hello everyone. We are here with Suraj. He has studied his masters from Netherlands, and that is also one of the good universities in Netherlands, University of Twente. So let me brief about little about Suraj. Basically, Suraj has done his civil engineering from Vishweshwarya Technical University, Belgium, and he has done his management from Real Estate Management Institute in Mumbai on real estate management. And then he has done his another master's, which is MSc in digital construction management from University of Twente. So I really welcome you, Suraj, to this forum, and I'm really grateful and thankful for accepting invitation on a short duration, short notice, I want to say. Yeah. So welcome.
Thank you very much for again.
Yeah.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you.
Suraj, first question, my first question is, why did you choose Netherlands? What are the good 3 points you want to share with our student or audience about Netherlands?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the question. So it's a typical question we get also when you're studying in Netherlands. Why did you choose Netherlands as a destination to study abroad? So in my case, it was so even I was at the same stage while applying for the universities as soon as I graduated. So I had very like different options to choose from. So I was trying to pick universities in Canada, universities in Australia. Also, it was like assessing universities in Europe. But I was highly enthusiastic in concentrating my career in construction technology. So digitizing the construction field was a major motive of of mine. So when I was like selecting the universities, I found a piece of article in the local newspaper saying that Netherlands is gonna print first 3D printed home, world's first 3D printed house. So that grabbed my attention. So I looked up more on Netherlands and I saw that it was one of the best destination for a civil engineer to study or pursue his education. So because if you look at Netherlands, so they are very great in water management. Also, if we search, if you look at the top university list, so Netherlands, few universities such as Delft pops up as a highest ranking in architectural and construction studies. So that was a major motive. One of the reasons that I chose Netherlands, and the secondly, the courses that I was gonna choose. Uh, it was a 4TU course. That means that I would be admitted into four technical universities. So that gave me a great opportunity to like choose courses from all the universities, top universities in Netherlands. So I could choose courses from University of Twente, Delft University, Wageningen, or Eindhoven University. So that gave me a great ahead to choose Netherlands. Yes.
That's brilliant. Means that is a one thing I want to tell all the students and audience. Basically, we should go with our passion. If we want to go pursue whatever you want to go, so go for that. Means don't go by the university name or something. So first, Suraj mentioned was rightly he looked for the program which he really wanted to do, and he found it, and then he went for the choosing university. Luckily, he got a one of the top university in Netherlands. That's a really a great. Uh, Suraj, now tell us, because Netherlands is a not an English speaking country. So did you learn Dutch before starting your studies in Netherlands, and how was that?
Yeah, so that would be most confusing question for the most of the students choosing universities across Europe. So because if you look at the French and German countries, they typically ask you to learn the German or French language. But in case of Netherlands, so that was not my case. So I never like I did not take any Dutch courses before like joining to the Netherlands. So that was one of the major advantages that I looked up to Netherlands for choosing universities because in Netherlands the most of almost everybody speaks English. but also during your educational journey, you don't have to. It's not mandatory for you to learn Dutch because even while you're studying. So if you look at the international ratio, so it's quite high. So nobody expects you to speak in Dutch, and all the courses are well designed in English. And yeah, you won't face any issues. So you don't have to mandatorily learn Dutch before coming to Netherlands. For studying, for sure, you don't require Dutch. But it would be useful. I would highly recommend for the job market. So if you have a little bit of Dutch language and the Dutch language knowledge, so then you will land into a job very easily, like two times faster than not knowing Dutch. So
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So that's a brilliant answer, I must say, because for learning you don't need Dutch, but if you want your future in Netherlands, if you want to get settled, or you want to work in a Netherlands, then Dutch is definitely required. Means it's a recommended, right? So that's a brilliant. Means it will clear a lot of confusion. So basically, what are typical intake in Netherlands? Is it possible for you to tell us about the undergrads also, if possible? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, typical intake for Netherlands. Don't see exact numbers like from a specific country to be taken into the universities. So that all depends on the available vacancies that university allot every year. So from India, I see that like in my university, so we used to have around like 200 students for the master's program every year. So the numbers are seen to be increasingly every year. So the intake is very good. So intake is high actually, and if you look at the bachelor's program, and I think that's very few people who are opting for it compared to the masters. So the intake of bachelor international, I mean, I'm talking about the international students coming into the university.
Mhm.
So yeah. So every year the international intake is quite high, and if you look at the ratio, it's almost like 50-50, almost like 70-30, I could say. Yeah. So the international intake is quite high in the in Dutch universities.
Okay, 70% international student, you mean?
Yeah. That's
Oh,
perfect.
that's brilliant. So, intake basically is when the applications are open. Usually, somewhere it's a summer, somewhere it's a winter. Means somewhere it's August. So when did you start applying to in Netherlands universities?
So I was aiming for a fall intake.
Okay.
So I was aiming for a fall 2018 intake.
Mm-hmm.
So I started my application way before. So let's say in the month of December 2017.
Yes.
So I started applying to the universities because you need to give a sufficient room for knowing about the universities and getting to know much about your destination, and to make friends across who are choosing the same university. So that will give you a lot of room to decide and get used to before moving to the college.
Yeah.
So I started applying in the month of December. So I got a response very quickly. So I had my admission in third week of January, and yeah, I started working on my visas, my accommodation, and etc. So then I joined my course on August 2018.
Yeah. So it was a rightly said, Suraj. You are telling from the your own experience, and this is what exactly we tell students: start applying a year before. Means get ready with a year before you want. If you want to study a year before, you should start minimum 6 to 8 month window. You should give to yourself. Yeah, that is a rightly we also said to all the student. Yeah. So the next is basically what is a typical timeline to follow for applying in a college in Netherlands? Is there any centralized application process like for US and UK and Germany? We have different application through which you can apply it to one place and they will process to all our universities you want to. So, is there any centralized process here?
Yeah, in my case, for the Dutch universities, the applications are much straightforward. So yeah, so you have a preliminary check, so you can just like do your preliminary checks. What I meant to say is that you just add in your background, and within a few minutes, maybe in 10 to 15 minutes, you have your answers. So should you continue for the further application? So it's like pre-eligible check. So after that, it's pretty straightforward. You upload all your documents and send your report cards, and yeah. So then they evaluate and then you get admitted. So I
So,
don't see any centralized system during my time of application, or maybe I'm not aware of any such. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So,
Yes, yes.
means for Netherlands universities, we have to apply directly to universities. So that is a thing we need to keep at
Yes,
the mind. Means we have to individually apply to each and every university, whatever course we want
exactly.
to do, we have to apply for that. And so every university we have to prepare different statement of purpose, Suraj, or
Exactly. So every courses that you want to pursue, maybe in different university. So if you want to study business administration in one university, and if you want to apply for a science stream in different university, you have to prepare different SOPs for the different university. Why you want to choose that particular university as well. Yeah.
right. Yeah. So, so based on your experience, what do you think, Suraj? What are a typical weightage Netherlands universities are give? Means how they choose the student based on their test. We can say GRE or GMAT in case of masters, and if we talk about undergrads, it's a SAT or ACT or other test, or your academic credential from previous years, means your 10 12, then your graduation marks, or the extracurricular means apart from study what you are good based on that your profile, or the proficiency language. So what is the criteria for choosing or selecting a student? What do you say?
So, well, typically, when you look for applying to a particular course in a particular universities in Netherlands, so if you look upon the websites of the university, so they usually have the list of requirements that you need to be eligible for applying for the particular course. So it's pretty much, so they do evaluate whatever you rightly said on all the criteria. So in most of the course, in very few courses in Netherlands, they do ask for GRE score, but in most of the cases, IELTS will do. So the IELTS score of 6.5 onwards is what that shows on most of the university's website. But if you have a score on 7 and above, so that gives you a huge plus in getting an admission to a particular university. And regarding your percentage or your marks of bachelor's, uh, yeah, so that's also of course given a weightage. That all depends on the number of people applying to a particular course. So if the competition is too high for a particular course, then they will have to filter out the people who are a good fit to the particular course. And then if the competition for the few courses is too low, such as maybe psychology, let's say, so I saw few international students, so then in that case the weightage would be less considered. So, or it would be considered, but you would be getting an admit very easily with your background profile. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I understood is basically your academics, your IELTS scores are very important when you apply to Netherlands universities, and you don't.
Exactly.
Most of the universities don't ask for GRE or GMAT kind of thing. That's a good part. So yeah, thank you
Yeah.
so much for this all details, Suraj. Now let's move ahead. Um, what which are the most sought of after post graduation course in Netherlands, and how competitive is the acceptance criteria? Although you told us just now, but still, if you want to highlight on the most sought after courses.
Like you mean to say particular courses or
Yeah, means maybe Netherlands is. like you said, it's the architecture, the civil engineering field. You said it's a
Yeah,
really a
yeah,
very good program, so I choose that. Similarly, there will be a lot of programs which are very popular in Netherlands, and
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that's would give the same answer that I had previously. So, yeah, depending upon there are very few good courses like you mentioned or I mentioned both of the same. So, if you look at the evaluation criteria, uh, so typical intake. So maybe you can like cut it out later on if I don't do the interview well.
yeah.
Yeah, if it, so based on the competition, it all goes with the number of intakes the students are applying to the particular courses. So then they look on to the student marks card or co-curricular activities or the voluntary activities that they did in the same field. So these are all the criteria that they consider while evaluating your profile. So so let's say in University of Twente, behavioral science is much more a hot course that you said. So in that case, the competition is high and the people are cut shorted based on their profile. That's how that works.
Yeah. So, what do you suggest student minimum apply to five different universities in Netherlands to get a good options or offer? What do you suggest? How many application typically a student should apply so that he will have a more chances to get selected? Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say like the students are pretty confident when they do a eligibility check. So typically the universities answers you when you apply, when you do the preliminary check. So that gives you around 50% uh, idea whether you would be getting admitted or not. Yeah, so I would also recommend the students to start. Of course, yeah, everyone has to keep their options open. So it's better to apply for more universities for the same program, and then they have a higher chances of getting admission.
Right. Right. So you applied to four different universities, right?
And actually, no, actually, I had applied for a particular universities, but courses that I chose was a four technical university. So you, yeah, so if I had applied to the Delft University, so I would still be an affiliated to all the four technical universities of Netherlands. So I chose my university based on the campus, based on the city, and based on the international ratio. So I chose University of Twente because it has only one. It is the most beautiful campus, let's say, in the Netherlands, and it's also called as most entrepreneurial university. And that was the reason that I chose University of Twente, and I got admission. And however, I was also admitted to Delft, Eindhoven, and Wageningen universities. So I could choose courses from any four technical universities across Netherlands. And there are only few programs offer where it is 40 affiliated. So I recommend students to check on those as well to get more experience from all the universities. So yeah, that's a good way to do your homework.
Yeah, that's a really good point to highlight. So, just share us with some interesting highlights of your postgraduate journey. Means, how was your adoption journey from Indian teaching styles to Dutch style? Because there is a lot of difference. Means, we do a lot of centralized exam process and lot of rote learning, we can say. So, how did you means what would you like to say to all the students? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So that reminds me to go through my entire 2 year of journey of the master's program. So the journey was quite really adventurous, I would say. So we had a lot of ups and downs. So before coming to Netherlands, so in my case, it was very not that greatly planned. So I did not had an accommodation before I entered the Netherlands. So We have all the Indian supporting group at the university where they help you out when you arrive, and they pick you up from the airport, and then they leave you to your accommodation. In my case, I stayed with few friends for the few days, and then later university helped me to get the accommodation. So yeah, so once so it was very new for me. So it was the first time being abroad, and yeah, so getting to know the culture, getting to know the city, getting to know the university was different questions that was like going through me. So usually when you arrive, so the university organizes the festival. They organize events called kick-in to get to know the university much better, and they make, so during the event you make a lot of colleagues or friends in the same study group, also in the same country that you come from. So you have Indian student organization where they arrange all the cultural festivals, so you don't feel left out, so you still feel like staying back home. And regarding the studies, yeah, so it was way different compared to what we study in India. So of course, when you compare courses from Netherlands to Germany or UK, so it's much more, I would say, uh, comprehensive. Yeah. So yeah, so the learning cycle is very well designed. So but whatever you learn theoretically, so you put it out practically. So you have, so more than the class homework or a classwork, you have a lot of group to group discussions where you have all the mixed international students, where you study and do your projects. So also all the coursework are affiliated to a company. So every company, so every course that you choose, they have some real-time projects with the company. So in that way you learn practical experience as well. Yeah, so the so typically, to give you a rough brief idea, so you would be doing around 120 European credit course, out of which in my case, so 90 credit course was coursework, and the rest of your 30 ECs was your thesis. So I did my thesis in a company, and that's where you get a kind of internship as well, and you get a practical experience, and that is a great opportunity also for you to land in a nice job
Yeah,
later on once you complete the study. Yeah.
yeah, that's brilliant. Means, first thing I want to highlight to everyone, you don't feel alone there. You will have a lot of support. People will come to pick you, and they are there to help you for your accommodation and everything. That's really a
Mhm.
brilliant point to raise, because that is the first thing, Suraj, everybody worried. Ki, when I reach, what will happen? How will I reach to university, where I will
Yeah.
stay? So that's a really important point you raised. Then second thing about the event, so it gives you opportunity to get familiarized, get create your network. And third thing is really important, which is totally different what we compare it to in India, learn by practice and your internship, that is to paid. So means this all are
Yeah.
really a brilliant opportunity for everyone. And if, what would you suggest, Suraj, if chance is given to a student, whether they should go abroad or they should study in India, what you means, based on your experience, because you have done masters from India
Yeah.
also and from Netherlands also. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say just go for it. So that would be a great experience if you have a chance to go study abroad. Of course, I would not recommend not going, but going and just studying and getting uh, uh, great experience also on your personal life, also on your educational background. So that would be a highly plus for your maybe your or your life achievements. So I would definitely recommend go study abroad.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. So now tell us, how is the employability there? Means, is there any post study work permit after you complete your post degree? So did you were you allowed to stay there and find your job, although you were in a uncertainty period of COVID, but still based on
Yeah.
your experience, means what is the duration for post study work permit, and how much part time is allowed, means while studying can you do the part time. So this is two typical question I would like to ask you. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, Thank you for the question. So let's talk about the part time. So usually, if you look at the courses, like I said if you look at the Dutch courses in any universities, any technical universities, they're much more very hectic, I would say. So I don't see like a lot of time available for you to work on a part time. But during the week, so the courses keeps you really busy the entire week. So the part time is of course possible. So you have a legal part time work of 16 hours per week where you can do your part time. So in that case, like of course Saturdays, weekends are a great time for the part time for doing a part time work. Yeah, so in that case, you would be earning around like if you get a part-time job, you would be earning around 800 euros. So that comes to roughly 70,000 rupees per month. Yeah, so you have a great opportunities doing a part-time, and the part-time getting a part-time in Netherlands. So the employer has to apply a work permit on your behalf, and that's how you start working with the part-time. Then the other option is that the best option that I would suggest for the students studying in Netherlands is that you concentrate on studying for the full time, and then you can work like full time during the summer vacations. So during the 2 month summer break, so you can start doing full time. So then you would be earning the same as much as you would be earning during the part time. And regarding the post-working visa, yeah, you get a working visa of you get a Zukiar, you get a chance to apply a Zukiar visa, which is valid for an year. So during that period, you can work in Netherlands, you can search for jobs, you can also open up your own company. So everything is possible. So opportunities are great. So in terms of employability, so every student that I have seen in the past is like they definitely do land in a job very easily. But due to the COVID, I think the chances are a bit less. But of course, nevertheless, it's the companies are looking actually for the students or the international students. And also once you get into the companies offers you Dutch courses, etc., etc. So the benefits are way nicer in the Dutch companies. Yeah, the opportunities are enormous in all the fields, so I would highly recommend that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a really a great assurance, Suraj. The 2 point you mentioned here is first, don't go for part time while studying, because it's a very much, it means it require you a lot of effort, and
yeah,
concentrate on your study. And during summer breaks and winter breaks, whatever, you can
yeah,
work that time the fully. So that's really a brilliant
exactly,
idea, means it will not hamper your study also, and definitely you,
exactly.
yeah, gain the experience. And also there are a lot of opportunities there, that is also a big assurance. And the post study work permit is really to add on. Yeah. So the means what is the usually the program cost there, means if I want to study for masters there, so 2 years, what is the total cost of program, means including fees or living and extra etc. What?
Okay, so it's a key question that all the students might be having at the end. So that's really nice to know. Yeah, though. All the technical Dutch universities costs are kind of the same, I would say. So if you get into university, so per year you would be paying like around 14,000 to 16,000 euros. So that would be around roughly 11 to 12 lakhs, converting into Indian rupees. Yeah, so that would be your yearly tuition fees, and the cost of accommodation would be around 600 or 700 euros per month. So roughly around so if you live on a budget, so INR 50,000 would be sufficient per month. So per per year, roughly you would be spending around like 6 lakhs rupees. Yeah,
Okay.
so 6 lakhs per year on your accommodation and your groceries and etc. And 11 or to 12 lakhs on your tuition fees per year.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
yeah, that's a brilliant means it's a still a we can say pocket friendly means compared to US and other countries. Yeah.
yeah, 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 that's true.
So that's a so the last question today I have is what is the finally means what would you like to say to our student, what message you want to give who are looking for the Netherlands as their dream destination? Yeah.
Yeah, like told earlier, if if you are like looking to study in any destination, do your research properly. Also, like be follow your intuition, follow your gut, and just be sure that you're making the right decision. And the people who are choosing Netherlands, and definitely you would have a wonderful journey studying here, living here. And yeah, of course, if you love cycling, the Netherlands is one of the great destinations to come study abroad. So every and overall, the people in Netherlands are really nice and they're straightforward. And they're like you have many internationals where you can like integrate into. So the cultural integration is not that very difficult as people would say in my case. Yeah, no, so definitely the Netherlands is a great destination for me. It was really a nice journey, and I would also highly recommend students choosing Netherlands that they would be gonna having the same feeling after they are done with the masters.
Thank you, Suraj. It was really full of information and really important. Some of point are very important to consider before we go for study abroad. And really, it must be helpful for student who wants to apply there. I really thankful to you once again for accepting this interview session with
Yeah,
me. Yeah. So
thank you very
and
much.
would like to wish you good luck for your business, what you're doing here in India. And yeah, thank you so much once again, Suraj. Yeah.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish you a great day. Bye.
Yeah. Mm, bye.